What is going on, guys? Welcome to this video. My name is Cameron. What is going on, guys? Welcome to this video. My name is Cameron, and this is the review for Ultimate Spider-Man issue 93 with the awesome cover of Deadpool on it, and it actually does look genuinely awesome. Deadpool is a badass, and just the way the Deadpool on this front cover looks like the Ultimate Universe's Deadpool, just from like the art style of him, is genuinely awesome. But before we get into this video, I just want to let you guys know I have created a new YouTube channel. The link is in the description, and it's basically, you know, like, because this is like a Spider-Man YouTube channel, if I made any other like normal videos, like to do with me and my life or anything like that, people might want to subscribe, but then they would see how many Spider-Man videos I have on here as well. So, and if they're not a Spider-Man fan, then they probably won't subscribe. So I've created a YouTube channel which is more to do with my life and like what I do and everything like that. So check out my first video on that YouTube channel. It's basically just introducing like me and sort of like more about my skateboarding, and I've traveled Thailand and I went to London and stuff like that. Yeah, the link is in the description. Please go check it out, and if you want to subscribe to that, as more videos will be coming on there, please do so. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And now for another Spider-Man Homecoming pop figure giveaway. Now, to enter this giveaway, what you've got to do is go to the link in the description to my new video on my new YouTube channel and leave a comment on that video to enter the giveaway for this. Now, of course, I've still got other pop figures down there, so if you don't win this one, don't worry about it, we've still got a few more. But please go and let me know what you think of my new video on my new YouTube channel. The link is in the description. Thank you, and I hope you guys win. Well, one of you, you know what I mean, one of you is going to win, but yeah. And now that we've got that out of the way, guys, what happened in the previous issue to Ultimate Spider-Man issue 93? Well, in Ultimate Spider-Man issue 92, we saw Spider-Man wake up with the rest of the X-Men mutants in a helicopter, getting chucked out of that helicopter and landing on the island known as Krakoa, or something along those lines anyway. Spider-Man ended up regrouping with the rest of the X-Men, with Colossus and Cyclops and the rest of them. But if you remember, not really too much happened. They basically just ran through the jungle for a little bit, and then we didn't see Deadpool until the very end. And if you watch my previous review, I wasn't really too happy about that because not too much happened in that issue. And the same is kind of for this issue as well. It's a little bit more actiony. There is a lovely surprise at the end of this comic, so guys, stick around until the end because the ending is actually pretty awesome. Okay, that is it. Let's get into this comic review. Let's go. I hope I hit the record button. Thank God. Okay, so getting into the comic, we are introduced to the host of this TV show known as Augustus Beezer. And on this TV show live stream, it's all about Deadpool and his team hunting down the X-Men and Spider-Man and various other mutants, because they think that these mutants are criminals and all this crazy stuff and think that they should be punished. Now, one of my favourite things about this comic is that we get a lot of characters all on the same page, all on the same panels, at the same time fighting each other. There's a lot of action going on, there's a lot of characters punching each other and blasts going off from various hands of different characters. And so from a reader's perspective, that art style is just awesome. Like, to have so many things going on just on one page is crazy, and I bet it was a blast to draw that out as well. So anyway, moving on to some of the negative sides of this comic. What you're seeing on screen right now, you know, that whole letterbox like sort of layout, that's pretty much what the entire issue is like, and it's kind of tedious to read because you're more like reading what feels like a newspaper or something along those lines instead of like an actual comic book. And it's just really tedious to read about. Like, usually when I'm reading this sort of comic, especially with these parts with Deadpool where he's in those little letterboxes, I kind of just feel like skipping over those when I'm reading the comic. But of course, if you skip over them, then you won't know the entire story, and so you sort of just have to put up with this really tedious sort of reading in this issue. And to be honest, the dialogue in these little boxes don't really push the story forward too much. I mean, when you first start reading these little boxes with Deadpool in it, you get a grasp of why Deadpool is doing this, and of course it's because that he doesn't like the mutants, he thinks that they're criminals, and he thinks that they were born that way and not actually chosen to be that special. And then he sort of just repeats that for the next 4 pages afterwards. So it's not only that either, it's also the back and forth thing between Augustus Beezer and Deadpool. Like, you're constantly bouncing between the two characters trying to keep up, and it's just really bland and hard to follow. And so I would have preferred if we actually just got regular dialogue from Deadpool and from Augustus Beezer, like, you know, like instead of us following their phone communication, we're actually seeing them talk as a character, like, you know what I mean. But that's like one of the major negatives of this comic in my opinion. Now moving onwards throughout the issue, one of the things that I completely forgot about is the fact that the world doesn't actually know that Kitty Pryde is dating Spider-Man. Because if you remember in the previous issue, Kitty Pryde actually took up her own identity so that she could fight alongside Spider-Man and also date Peter Parker. Because obviously, people know that Kitty Pryde is dating Peter Parker. So now if the world knows that Kitty Pryde is dating Spider-Man, that will put Peter Parker's secret identity at risk, because Kitty Pryde is seen hanging out with Peter Parker and then dating Spider-Man as well. Like, people are going to put two and two together, and that is basically what is revealed in this comic live to the world, where they actually catch a glimpse of Spider-Man and Kitty Pryde revealing that they are dating each other. And so I can't actually remember just yet, but this could have repercussions in the future issues when we get back home out of this island. Something that I haven't mentioned yet, which I actually quite like, is the host of Augustus Beezer, and just how his personality is very American TV show host sort of level, if you get what I mean. You know, like, he's very vibrant, he's very sort of shouty, and as you're reading the comic, you can actually interpret how his character would sound and talk as if he was actually hosting a TV show. And I really like how the comic and the writing sort of portrays his character and puts it across to the reader, almost as if you know how his character actually works, sort of thing. So I did like that. And you can just tell how the comic goes on that he sort of feels safe in his studio, but there are times where he does get worried, as if the action is getting a bit too close to where he is. And that's the sort of vibe that he's putting across to us as the reader, is that he feels invincible. Also, going over to another thing I liked about the comic is that they actually discuss how Spider-Man is the real deal, because obviously in these Ultimate Spider-Man comics, in the Ultimate Universe, there was a Spider-Man movie made. And of course, if you've been following these Ultimate Spider-Man comic reviews for a while, you will know that actually whilst they were making that Spider-Man movie in the comic, they actually captured real footage of Spider-Man fighting Dr. Octopus and used it in their movie. And that left the people of the Ultimate Universe actually questioning whether Spider-Man was actually like that. And so now that he's here live on this island, they can see that Spider-Man is actually as heroic and as flexible and as acrobatic as he was in the Spider-Man movie. And I think that's just awesome how they sort of discuss that and are actually surprised and actually a massive fan of Spider-Man. Like, you can feel the sort of tension and how everybody actually quite likes Spider-Man, even though they are trying to kill him, so it's pretty awesome. But anyway, coming up to the final 2 pages of this comic, you can see that the heroes are actually gaining the upper hand on the rest of these characters, including Deadpool and his team. And something that was completely left by surprise is where Spider-Man, out of all the characters, takes down Deadpool. And we get to this really surprising moment in the comic, which me, who I've already read these comics before, actually completely forgot about this and was still taken by surprise, is when Spider-Man removes the mask of Deadpool. It's Professor Charles Xavier underneath. And that is such a mind-blowing thing to happen, and of course we'll have to wait until the next issue to see what is going on and how Professor X is Deadpool. Guys, thank you very much for reading. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. Okay, so overall, I thought this issue was actually going to be quite boring. As I was going through the issue, as I've already said, that like letterbox like panel layout where it's like just black boxes of Deadpool talking is really tedious to read, and it's so boring because you're sort of just reading it and thinking, I cannot wait to be done with this. You kind of just want to skip it. But overall, the comic was actually quite interesting, and the ending cliffhanger with Charles Xavier being Deadpool was a massive twist. Like, if you're like a normal reader who didn't see that coming, which, by the way, I actually forgot that that happened, it actually is a huge surprise, and so I really liked that. As for the rest of the characters and the mutants and the X-Men and everything, I thought it was interesting to see the part where the cameras actually picked up that Spider-Man and Kitty Pryde are in fact dating each other. And I've already said that before, that I think everybody knows that Kitty Pryde is dating Peter Parker. So the fact that it's been caught on live, on air, on camera, that Kitty Pryde and Spider-Man are dating each other, I can't remember whether that has repercussions, because obviously Kitty Pryde can't be dating Peter Parker and Spider-Man. So that's more or less going to be giving away that Spider-Man is Peter Parker, but you know, we'll see what happens. I can't actually remember if there's repercussions from that, but I hope there is. Not to mention, there is a lot of running away in this comic, with Deadpool and his team running after Spider-Man and the rest of the X-Men. And one of my little gripes about this is that you can kind of tell that this Deadpool saga is like a filler to get to like the other sagas that are about to come up in the future, because this issue was only 13 pages long. The average Spider-Man comic ranges between 19 pages and 25 pages. So the fact that this comic was 13 pages long just shows that the writer Brian Michael Bendis and artist Mark Bagley couldn't really squeeze too many pages out of this one comic. So that was kind of disappointing because 13 pages, man, like Jesus. It's really surprising that they were okay having a comic book such as Ultimate Spider-Man 93 issues in to be only 13 pages long. Like, I wonder what the public thought about that when this issue released a few years ago. Like, surely there was something like that was said about that. But either way, this comic was still pretty awesome. Again, not too much happened in it, but the ending to the comic did actually get me very surprised. Like, I totally didn't expect it, and I was originally going to give this comic a 6 out of 10 because obviously, like, that's a bit low, but nothing really happened and the comic was super short. But I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 because the ending was so good. Like, it was, like, you couldn't have guessed that was going to happen. Like, it's crazy. But guys, before we end this video, again, please go check out my new YouTube channel. The link is in the description. I do actually make videos like where I go and do stuff, like I go to London, I've traveled Thailand and stuff like that. And I have filmed all of it, but I never really thought of putting it on this YouTube channel because it's more Spider-Man comic dedicated. So now I've created this new YouTube channel, and so I'm going to be uploading to there as well. So guys, go check it out. The link is in the description, and thank you very much for checking out if you do. As for this YouTube channel, guys, if you want more Ultimate Spider-Man reviews, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button on this video for Charles Xavier being Deadpool. Let me know what you thought of the comic in the comment section below, and of course, don't forget to enter the giveaway, which of course involves going to my new YouTube channel. Link is in the description. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. See you later.